everyone, welcome back to another One Piece chapter reaction. It feels like it's been months since I've seen you guys. I think it's only been like 2 weeks, but we've had these breaks from the holidays and all that, so obviously we're here to react to One Piece chapter 1171. I'm super excited to read this one. I did see that the title of the chapter is called Ragnar, and if you guys remember from last reaction or my last video, I love Ragnar, as I think a lot of you do as well, so hopefully this is a Ragnar-centric chapter. We obviously got a lot to figure out here. I don't know if the flashback's going to end soon. I don't know if we're going to cascade into another part of Loki's, past or whatever. But either way, I'm super excited for this. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. It's so great to see you guys. Like I said, it's been a little while, and I think I heard that we have a break after this chapter as well. So, January is a little bit of a quiet time here for One Piece, but I don't know if you guys have been following, but it has not been a quiet time for the One Piece TCG. Anyone who follows the One Piece TCG market, it's like ascended past Pokemon levels at this point. I don't even know what happened. Everyone's getting into it, so One Piece is always popping off, guys. That's the lesson. It always is. So we're gonna get started here in just a few minutes. I'm just gonna give a couple more minutes for people to just show up, because I did kind of do this very quickly. I also saw that Parvision is going live at the same time, but don't worry, we will probably get through the whole chapter and stuff before he's done, because I know he usually takes a little while. So we'll go quickly, so that you guys can skedaddle over there and see the rest of his reaction. And he usually goes for hours and hours as well, so you can catch the rest of it. But yeah, we'll get started here pretty shortly. Just gonna wait a few more minutes so people can show up, because I only scheduled it like 10 minutes ago, and like I said, it's been weeks since we've had a chapter, so I feel like people are not even really thinking about new chapters coming up right now. You know what I mean? We're out of our weekly routine, so yeah, just a few more minutes and we'll get started. But real quick, I did see we had a couple donations. Friend Harper with the super sticker. What's it say? Fist bump to you, friend Harper. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Also, I gifted 5 free memberships from YouTube. That's not for me. YouTube does it for free, but I wanted to do that early so I could. My idea was whoever showed up early would get the memberships. I don't think that actually happened. I think it kind of gave it to just random people, but that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. And then Quanidin with the $2 super chat. You said 10 out of 10 chapter easy. How's your day going, Dak? So far, it's going pretty well. I'm feeling good. I did go out this morning to try finding some new One Piece TCG product, because OP14 released today, as well as the new illustration boxes, which have OP13 and PRBO2 in them, which are 2 of the best sets. So I did go and get a couple boxes of those, but I could not find any boxes of OP14 for sale. So still looking for those, but overall good day. We got a new chapter, so it's automatically a good day. XL Bean Boy, my guy, with the 5 gifted memberships. Bean Boy, seriously, I appreciate you for that so much. Thank you for your generosity, as always, my guy. I hope you've had a great start to 2026. Hope you had some happy holidays as well. I don't think I've talked to you since then. I don't think so. Hope you've been doing well, my friend. And then 25th Slayer with the $2 super chat. I was here, indeed. You were, and I even got to mention it nice and early before the stream. So indeed, you were here. You were here for hopefully the whole thing. You were here for the actual reaction of it. And then Mr. Bushido with the spoiler super chat with the. €2, spoiler, can't believe Carrot kills Loki. If Carrot kills Loki this chapter, I'm dropping One Piece today. And not even because you spoiled me, but just that there's no way. If that would be the craziest thing. So hopefully not. I really don't want to drop One Piece, so hopefully not. But yeah, thank you everybody for all the donations. Seriously, I appreciate you. See, we're getting up to 80 something people now, so we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully some more people will show up. I know we're out of our normal routine, like I said earlier, so hopefully people will trickle in. In general, I feel like because of the breaks and stuff, I feel like, and also because we were at such a high with the God Valley stuff, I feel like the algorithm and just kind of all over the place, One Piece manga has not really been at the forefront recently, but hopefully now that we're getting back into the swing of things and all that, and probably going to end the flashback and get to the Imu stuff, it'll hopefully pick back up. But it does feel like things quieted down a little bit over the last over the last few weeks. So, real quick, Mr. Bushido, you said I'll read that later just because we can have a longer discussion on it about Topman dying. I saw you talking about that in the Discord. But GG's Boxcar with the 5 gifted memberships. GG, thank you as always. You're a real one. Thank you very much. Shout out to everyone who got a membership here. Angry Speedman, Young Vito, Straw Hat AP, High Voltage, and Tiante Black. Tiante, it's been a minute since I heard from you, man. I hope you're doing well. But thank you, GG, as always. You're the GOAT. Cliff, come here. Cliff, I can tell Cliff is getting prepped to bark out the window, so we're gonna corral him in here. But yeah, Bushido, I will get back to your member message later, just because then we'll get into all the theory talk and stuff. But all right, now let's go ahead and actually get into the chapter. Let's do it. And so, like I said, I saw the chapter title was Ragnar, which I think is awesome. That is, hopefully it's a Ragnar centric chapter. We'll see. We got a cover request here. Cover request by Reverse Kitten, a cat putting cat ears on Zoro. Okay, interesting. It's fitting that Reverse Kitten made the request, but very interesting. Let's see here. Let's see. What do we got? Where are we starting at? All right, we're still in the castle. Because remember, we ended with Loki, finishing off Harold, or at least that's what we're led to believe. There's been theories that he might still be alive, could be the man marked by flames. I don't know about all that, but presumed to believe that he died. So we'll let's see what happens here in the aftermath. If Harold left the castle in that state, he would have brought great calamity to the world. I had a taste of that hopeless future during the fight. No matter how badly we wounded him, his body kept repairing itself. It's shocking to think something actually stopped him. Now, I'm curious if, is his body still around? Cliff, come here, buddy. Cliff keeps running right back to the window. We're going to have to shut the door. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. I can't let you do that. I can tell you're about to erupt with a bunch of barks. We can't do that right now. It's shocking to think something actually stopped him. So like I was saying, I really hope that we see a body, because we know there's a grave, right? Remember that comment from Summers about, oh, are you going to go visit Harold's grave to Shamrock? I mean, and you don't really need the body to have a grave. I feel like we kind of just saw that with Pedro and Wano. So, you just need some place to put a gravestone, but still, I'm curious if there is a body or not, or if he just disintegrated. Did you know this sacred treasure would be that powerful, Jarl? No, I actually knew nothing about it. All I know is I get chills down my spine when I imagine what would have happened if Loki hadn't been here today. When I join the Gods Knights, it'll be a new dawn for Elbaf. Interesting that he's using the word dawn. If you have any wish, simply name it, and it'll be within your reach. You've truly endured a miserable, squalid life. Squalid? I don't know if I've ever heard that word. Squalid life until now, my poor child. Forget your former life on the surface. The commoners down there don't even count as people. Look, hey, Garling's got to go. Someone's got to take care of this man. I mean, all the Celestial Dragons think this way, but man, I like when Oda reminds us of how bad they are. Shanks, hey Shanks, stop it. So he's grabbing his arm here. Is this? I'm wondering if it's just he's having a bad memory, or if the mark is actually doing something to him. Imu's trying to do something to him, but he's too far away or something. I think he's just having a mental episode, but regardless, that's he's going through something, That's a bad habit. You should never resent the circumstances of your birth. Why did Harold have to die? He was such a pure soul. If only I had been faster. This isn't your fault. Listen, Shanks, you're here for a reason. Everyone's life has some meaning to it. Scopper's cooking right now. You just gotta hold on. Is this what happens when you love your country too much? So we see that Harold's body is there. This sucks, and he's crying a ton. Yeah, that is such a powerful scene. And so something that this reminds me of, I don't know if everybody else has caught this, but you see here how Harold, I'm assuming what's going on here is Harold's cloak, like Loki put Harold's cloak over him so we can't really see all the damage because Harold's probably like, you know, torn up, like probably dismembered or something. But you know, that reminds me of Katakuri losing to Luffy. Remember when Luffy went and put the hat over Katakuri's face so that like you couldn't see his teeth or whatever? It reminds me of that a little bit, you know. It's like respect for the person you defeated in a way. So I like that. He was a rare ancient giant. I know this is Imu the second I see that font. That's the Imu font right there. TCB, that's patented Imu font for sure. Or maybe the official did it first, I don't know, but that is definitely the Imu font. He was a rare ancient giant, enhanced with even more power and an undying body. Those traits made him a true monster, and yet he was still killed? Who could have... Is something unforeseen lurking on Elbaf? Imu's stressing about Loki right now? That's kind of crazy. Something unforeseen. So Imu did not have any like lore in his back pocket that Loki was gonna be a boss like this. We should have the Abyss pentagram carved by Harold inspected. That shall not be necessary. It would only result in the death of another knight. Every covenant comes with a price to be paid. Even for Mu. We should have the... So the Gorosei are saying they should have the pentagram inspected. And Imu saying it's not necessary, because then that's just going to mean that another knight's going to die. And every covenant comes with a price to be paid, even for Mu. I wonder where that's going to go. He had no qualms about lowering his head to appease humans. All he ever sought was communion with other nations and peoples. Harold was a total aberration. And yet he was born with the blood of those savage, battle-loving giants. Had we admitted him into the government flippantly, his very presence might have destroyed it from within. Elbaf should never have known a king of his disposition. Forging a covenant with a cooperative ancient giant like him was an unprecedented opportunity. This disappointing outcome proves that history does not lie. We were always going to be incompatible. Never forget, Elbaf is of the D. Whoa, what? Imu, what are you cooking right now? Whenever Imu talks for this amount of time, I'm just like, I don't know, I'm beside myself, you know? Like, we don't get this many opportunities for Imu to cook like this. Imu cooked for 2 straight pages. This is the most Imu has ever spoken. Other than, like, that discussion with Cobra, I guess. But even that, this is a ton of words. So basically what Imu's getting at here is, for obviously, Harold was a very good opportunity because he's so strong as an ancient giant, but yet he wanted to like cooperate with the government and with the world, so it was like a really big opportunity for them. And even though he was as strong as he was, it still failed. So Imu's like, well, history doesn't lie. We're not supposed to be on the same side. And then never forget, Elbaf is of the D. So Elbaf has a history with the D clan, which I assume just means at this point like Joy Boy affiliated. Oh man, I don't know. That's hype. That's hype. Whatever it is. Loki. After this, the country will be in disarray. I'm heading out to sea, old timer. I'll take the surviving soldiers with me. What about Harold's final request? Tell the people of Elbaf what happened here. There's no way I can tell them the truth. Just drop it, all of you. Don't speak a word. of what happened here today. So this explains, and I think this is a good point, this explains why nobody just kind of like exonerated Loki before this. Loki did not want that to happen. Loki wanted to do it himself. And also, I'm just now noticing, I don't know if we knew this before. Maybe we did, and I didn't clock it, but his tattoo is like a sun, right? It looks like kind of like the rising sun logo somewhat, but obviously it's like also supposed to be like wings depending on the angle you're looking at it from, so that's important for sure. Don't speak a word of what happened here today. If we say nothing, who do you think they'll blame for all this? It'll be the same as always. Say I were to become king. Can you see me actually honoring Father's ideals? I can only tackle this in my own way. With this ability, I'll settle the regrets of the old man and his soldiers. Also, I see, are we going back to present day? We are, because I could see the borders of the pages weren't black anymore. I think I mentioned this last stream. I'm so used to the black borders because we always get those in flashbacks that whenever I look back at old chapters, I'm like, why is everything so bright right now? And I noticed it here too. So that's all right. So we are finally back in present day, which is awesome. But before that happens though, don't be stupid, Loki. The world government is a big organization. It won't be as easy as you think. And we see Scopper and Shanks are just, pulling a dragon there with the ... Something big happened. A West Castle was attacked, Your Highness. After that, I set out to sea. Howardine, by the time you guys returned to the island, everyone had already dubbed me Loki the Patricide. And I made no effort to correct that narrative. But it's not like I was crazy enough to brag about killing him either. I just didn't want everything he stood for to be dismissed because of how things turned out. With all that in mind, do you really think I should have told the people everything? And we see Howardine also pulling a dragon. He's telling the truth, Howardine. Get it already? I really don't want to relive... Yeah, I really don't want to relive all this crap. Elder Jarl. Always opposed to your execution. I can understand why you chose to keep this secret. Father choosing death in the face of the government's manipulation. The world government has been our enemy all this time. I wonder, what did they do to Father? Indeed, and now they sent more knights to Elbaf, some with deep ties to Harold. Even Loki doesn't know all the details about Harold's dealings in the Holy Land. I can fill you in if you want. That won't be necessary for now, Yasan. We need no further reason to protect our country. Loki's about to get freed? Loki, it seems we both feel the same way about Father. I'm sorry for everything. For the sake of Elbaf, let's make a stand together. This is you can feel the hype building, man. You can feel it. Whoa, that's great, Loki. You can fight now. Rawr. Something just crashed. Is that one of the nightmares or something? Yep. This is the Draugr, I think, right? The skeleton thing. Whoa, that's one of the monsters that was rampaging up there. They've got a ton of creatures running wild. Where did they come from? Isn't that a Draugr? I never thought those were real. This will be a good warm-up. Go on ahead. I'll just jump up. What in the world is that? What's going on up there? Hurry up, Howardine. Hey, Loki. We admit we prejudged you when we called you a kin-slaying piece of crap. We're really sorry. I love that, too. But this doesn't undo all your other things you've done. Shut up and go already. I don't need to hear you guys yap. This is the best. I can move. It's so freeing. So Loki is now ready to go. Are we going to see the devil fruit? That's what I want to know. Is that going to happen? Hey, Doc. I know you want to take care of me here, but I'm worried about my son up there. Yeah, you make a good point. Oh, and so now they're all going up together. Okay, that's interesting. Be careful, Sanji. I've got it. Weren't you two going to stay behind? What are you still doing here? She. I'm dying to see you fight. Us too, Luffy. All right, what's going down? All right, let's show him your power, Ragnar. Squeak. Yo, I don't know why, but the squeak gets me. The little squeak. The fact that this giant hammer is a squirrel, that's what makes One Piece so great, man. All right, so we got the Draugr here, freaking out a little bit. Niflheim, isn't that is that like one of the realms in Norse mythology? I can't remember exactly what that is, but I know that's a Norse term for sure. Niflheim, and then we see what is happening exactly. Did he freeze? Did he immediately wait? He's frozen. Wait, what? He froze? I'm looking at that right? That isn't like or is that electricity? It's freezing, right? He froze? Yeah, you can see it better on the final one in the bottom left. Because I'm like, is he just covered in electricity or fire? But no, that's definitely, he froze immediately. And so I guess what he's doing is like freezing him, and then the hammer crushes him, because like once you're frozen, you break into pieces or whatever. Which ironically would be I think we kind of saw this without Kiji. That's actually a good way to beat Luffy or anyone with rubber powers. Like if you freeze them, then they can't stretch the same, or at least like, naturally they're not supposed to, and then they're like brittle and they can break. This is hype. This is a chilling attack. There you go. Even more confirmation. So he froze him. Huh. First thing I also think of is Brook's powers, because he's also fighting the Draugr, which looks like Brook, right? And the guy's he has the crack on his skull just like Brook. And Brook also freezes people, but it's not quite like this. This is obviously a different way of doing it. The hell? I love it. Whatever's going on, I love it. I think this also builds onto the agenda for sure that Loki and or Ragnar or some combination thereof is Uranus. I think we've seen him bring down lightning. We saw during the flashback several times that when Loki was upset, it started snowing. Now we see him freezing somebody with the hammer. It's like all sorts of different kind of weather phenomenon. Got to be some Uranus story here for sure. There just has to be. I don't know what I don't know what it is, because like the paradigm of the ancient weapons is weird sometimes. Like Shirahoshi is the ancient weapon, but the Sea Kings are like the real power of it, right? Like without them, like Poseidon's kind of nothing. So it's like I don't know which one is Uranus, but this has to be a Uranus connected thing. It has to. Overall, I love this chapter. I gotta say, this was phenomenal. It was like a little bit of setup for the next chapter, or maybe like a lot of bit of setup, but I feel like there was also a really good kind of come down here from the flashback. Like I really liked like some of this emotional stuff with Loki, seeing Harold dead, talking to everybody about what happened both in the past and in the present. I loved all that emotional stuff. That hit pretty good. And then I think the Imu stuff, right? That's anytime Imu cooks, that raises the rating of the chapter for sure. So this was a phenomenal chapter. Great way to end it. I would have kind of preferred that we saw like Loki's actual devil fruit, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm still here kind of wondering like, okay, are the ice powers tied to his fruit, or was the lightning, or neither? Is this all just Ragnar stuff and Loki's fruit is completely separate from all this? Like, I don't really know, how to read that necessarily, because he doesn't have the sea stone on now. So then it might make you think, okay, well now he's attacking without sea stone. So is the frozen part from his devil fruit? But he also used lightning against Harold in the flashback, like last chapter. So we know that it's kind of weird. It's like there's just different weather powers being used. So something with Uranus has to be going on here for sure. But overall, fantastic chapter. Really good setup for 1172. 1172 is going to hit like crazy. I feel like 1172 is where we're really going to learn more about like what Loki's powers are, or just because they're probably going to go up and start fighting Imu or the Gods Knight, so I think we're going to see a little bit more from Loki, so this is a really good setup. I will say the one weird thing about this chapter is that the chapter title was called Ragnar, and this was not like a Ragnar-centric chapter. I mean, I think the point is because it ends with him swinging Ragnar, but, like, I don't know. I was expecting some lore, or at least Ragnar to show up. Like, we didn't even see the squirrel version, you know what I mean? So we heard the squeak, but that's it. So that is a little weird. You would think Ragnar would have made more sense for last chapter, to be honest with you. But whatever. I'm happy Ragnar got a chapter title. That's my guy. So overall, great chapter. I'd probably give this like an 8.5 out of 10. I'm trying to like adjust my ratings because they were, obviously the flashback, we had multiple 10s. So I feel like this is like maybe an 8.5. Because it's a lot of setup, but still, like I said, really good come down from the flashback. So really, really enjoyed this one. So let's go ahead and get into some of these super chats. I want to see the theories you guys got on this. I feel like there could definitely be some things here that, maybe I wasn't thinking about. Like, I mentioned that tattoo. I wonder if you guys have some theories on that, because that definitely looks like kind of like the rising sun flag, which makes me think of like a Wano thing. I don't know. But either way, I'm excited to see what you guys got to say. So let's get into the super chats. Bushido, let's go ahead and start with that theory that you mentioned at the very beginning, which I said I was going to save for now. You said you have a new theory that Topman is the next Gorosei who dies. I have no qualms with that agenda. I'm with you. My only issue, I guess, is I'm not sure how many more Gorosei are really going to die, or at least if more Gorosei die, I think that might just be like the end of them. Like, I don't know if they're going to keep getting replaced. I don't know if Oda's going to keep doing that over and over. Like, maybe one more time, but I'm not even sure if he's going to do that. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm cool with Topman kicking the bucket for sure. GG's Boxcar with the 14-month member message. Lilith spin-off announcement when? That's for you to get working on, GG. Pick up some animation skills, and start making a Lilith spin-off series. I'll watch it. I'll stream it. I'll stream it if you make that one. Mr. Bushido with the €2. 10 out of chapter loses meaning, but 10 out of 10 chapter. Yeah, I mean, this was really good. I mean, like I was saying a couple minutes ago, the scale has changed a lot recently. I feel like for me, 8.5, maybe a 9 is good for this one. But I don't know. We had so many 10s in the flashback. I feel like I got to tone it down. But I mean, this was a really good one. This was very like emotional, right? I think this one in the anime is gonna hit like whenever you add some music over it. Maybe like, I don't know. I can't think of the song names off the top of my head. Maybe like To the Grand Line, or I don't know if Memories will be played at some point in the flashback. I don't know about here. Memories will be played after Rox dies. I'll tell you that for sure. After Rox dies and everyone's like reminiscing about Rox, that's when Memories is gonna play. But yeah, this will be a really good episode for sure in the anime. Mr. Bushido with the €2. Garling wanted to be with his sons. Best dad. Hey, I mean, Garling, he was trying to get both of his kids back there. Like, they had like, he did want Shanks. He didn't mean to abandon him like some other dads did. So, I mean, screw Garling, but I guess he wasn't the worst. He wasn't the worst dad. He's just the worst person. Again with the €5 from Bushido. Scopper telling Shanks to hold on and everyone has their purpose reminds me of Pedro telling Carrot that everyone has their time to shine. Completely agree with you. Completely agree. And yeah, because Pedro told that to Carrot, but also Roger told that to Pedro, right? And so it really starts back with Roger, so it makes sense that Scopper is now saying it, right? I didn't even really think about that connection. That's beautiful. I really love that. I wonder if Rayleigh has said the same thing to anybody. Who would Rayleigh maybe would have said it to Luffy, but like, I don't know if Luffy really needs that kind of prep talk from Rayleigh, like at the point they met. Luffy was already cooking. I don't know, but that's a really good connection. Then with the $10 from Mr. Bushido, appreciate you for all the super chats, brother. Thank you. I think this chapter helps my Horocrux theory. To kill Mu, you must kill all the knights. Why Gunk Mu turned Dory and Brogi, she said they'll take their lifespan. So I think Imu can rebuild replacement lives. I like that. I think that line from Imu where it's like, what was it? Like every covenant comes with a price to be paid, even for Mu. That's definitely like that's really important. I think there's a few different ways you could read it, but that's really important. And I like the way you're kind of putting it. Like every time a knight dies, that hurts Imu in some way. I could almost read it the opposite too, where it's like every covenant Imu makes, like, hurts Imu in some way. And so whenever like a person with a covenant dies, that's really bad because Imu's like, dang, I wasted some of my lifespan, my magic power. Like maybe there's a finite amount of whatever Imu is using, like abyss powers or whatever, to do all this. And so maybe every time Imu grants a covenant, it takes a little bit away. And so Imu, like every time one dies, then Imu's like, damn, like I can't replace them that easily, I guess is the point. Which would also make it advantageous if they lived forever, because then you wouldn't have to replace them as often. And remember, we also heard that there's like a maximum of 13 of people who have the abyss and the deep sea mark or whatever. So this could be why there's a limit too. Like Imu's like, because of the price to be paid, Imu cannot afford, I guess, to, you know, make that many. Like 13 is the maximum. So yeah, maybe it is that you have to like destroy all the other parts of Imu. Because what I could also see is like, even aside from this, like what we're talking about, I could see a situation where like, even if you were to go and attack Imu or kill Imu, quote unquote, if there's other people with abyss marks out there, then maybe Imu can just like transfer over to that body. So like you do have to go finish off all the other Covenant users before you can actually take out Imu, because Imu can just do what they did to Gunko and be like, all right, well, I'm going to be in this body instead then. So maybe you do have to destroy all of them. I think that would make a lot of sense. So you might be cooking with that one. You might be. And also, Bushido, just because I saw you just sent this one too. You said, like and join the Discord for Carrot for Nakama. Don't join for the Carrot for Nakama, but definitely join the Discord in general if you haven't already. We're past 1,000 people now, which I think is super cool, but always some good theory discussion in there. And I feel like, especially today after this Imu stuff, like anytime there's Imu talk, that's always like it's like the big theory discussion. I feel like, you know, whenever we're trying to figure out Imu's situation, that's like the big talk. So definitely I would assume there's gonna be some conversation on that. So yeah, Bushido, thank you very, very much. Appreciate you. Cloud Lizard with the $5 super chat, my guy. I'm thinking Loki has a Valkyrie or something that draws powers from different realms of Elbaf. He said Niflheim and froze the Draugr. Yeah, it is interesting. So is Niflheim, let me look, why don't I just look it up? Is that like the Norse equivalent of the realm of the dead? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that a cold place? I would assume based off the attack, but let's see. Yeah, Niflheim was primarily a realm of primordial ice and cold with the frozen rivers of Elvagar, and the well of Hvergelmir, from which all look, I can't pronounce enough of these, but it is a cold place. It is like the realm of the dead, but from Norse mythology. So yeah, it's tough because I could read it the way you're saying, where he can use powers of like different areas or whatever of Elbaf. But I think it could also just be like, what if he has, you know, different types of weather powers in general, and so whenever he attacks with ice, he calls it Niflheim. Whenever he attacks with lightning, I don't know, is there like a place with a lot of thunder in Norse mythology? I can't think of anything like that off the top of my head, but the quick AI result, who knows how true this is, but it says that there isn't really a thunder realm, but thunder is associated with Asgard because of Thor, like the other, you know, kind of like top gods of Norse mythology. So maybe he's just gonna like use a bunch of different Norse terms that like loosely relate to the weather he's using. But so maybe it's not that he's taking it from those realms, but more he's just naming the different types of weather on the realms, because, Oda wants to make that Norse connection. I could see either, honestly. We are also in the realm of the dead, so I don't know. But he also used lightning in the realm of the dead earlier, but he had Sea Stone on, and now he doesn't have Sea Stone on. But he also, like I said earlier, he used lightning right after he got the fruit, too. So we know that, like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, honestly. But, I mean, I do like that idea, though, that, like, at the bare minimum, that he's going to be naming the different attacks on the different realms. I think that would be very cool. Because I think there are definitely some other ones he could pull from. So, in general, I love that idea for sure. Alejandro Solis, member for 26 months, more than 2 years, dude. Thank you so much. Starting 2026 with a chilling way, Ragnar over Mink. Are you saying that Ragnar is greater than the Minks? I mean, look, I know we got some Mink fans in the chat right now. And across the whole community, but if I'm being honest, I mean, it's hard to top Ragnar right now, man. I mean, Carrot never joined the crew, but if Loki joins, then that means Ragnar joins. So, hey, look, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to start nothing. I'm just telling you that, Ragnar for Nakama is an agenda that I might be on. Debus with the Canadian $7. Elbaf being all about pride and Joy Boy being coded like inverse of Lucifer, pride, sin, makes me think that Elbaf being D hints to Joy Boy going there after exile. Now that is a very cool idea, that like Joy Boy either got like exiled from his own people or maybe was just being chased by Imu, or if Davy Jones is different, then maybe him, or just some threat, and maybe he came to Elbaf for like protection, and like not that Joy Boy was like weak and couldn't do it, but I don't know what the whole plan is, but he came here for help. Maybe he got like hurt in a battle, and then this is where like they protected him, which would actually be a really cool parallel to Scopper, because he got the Mount Eater name from protecting Roger while he was like recovering, maybe in Drum Island. That's what a lot of the theories say, but wherever it is, we know he protected Roger and people were coming after him. I could see a parallel there where Joy Boy came here and everyone's trying to like, get him, like hunt him down, but the Giants protected him, and that's why they're of the D, and that's why like whichever side the Giants pick will greatly change the outcome of the war. It's like maybe something like that's going to happen again, where like they really need the Giants to protect Luffy in a certain moment. I'm all for that. The more I talk about it, the more I love that idea. It would be so cool to see them. And actually, going a step further, you think about Egghead. They went over to Egghead to go protect Luffy there and help him escape from that. So they kind of already did that in a way. Maybe not like the same way that you're kind of talking about, but it's similar that like, they went to go help him against their greatest enemy, basically. So I'm actually all about that, Debus. I like that. That's a very good theory. Cloud Lizard with the $5 super chat. Ragnar feels like an allude to weapons having souls you can draw out. That explains Shamrock Cerberus, Enma's Grim Reaper, and Shank's Griffin in the anime. Yeah, no, 100. You're cooking 1,000% right now. I don't know if you saw my most recent video or not, but I don't know. I can't remember exactly how I worded it, but I brought those. I didn't bring up Cerberus. I probably should have though, but I did bring up like Enma and stuff like that. Where like in Klabautermon with ships, like there's like things are alive that are like, or they have like more soul than we think. That like these objects shouldn't have souls, but they're still like animate in a certain way, right? Like devil fruits have wills of their own and evaded the government. Swords choose their wielder and all that kind of stuff. But now like with the Zone edition, it's like it's taking that idea like a whole other step further, where like they're literally alive. And so I do wonder, like with Cerberus, that was never said to have a devil fruit, and so maybe there is like, I don't know, I imagine there's some Abyss shenanigans going on, but it would be kind of cool if like Emu was able to like pull out the dormant entity that's like in the sword, like whatever, like how Oda has drawn personifications of the different swords, like they literally have like human faces, like if they were alive. I wonder if Emu is almost able to do that with the swords. You know what I'm saying? Like I can literally just pull out whatever that living version would be and let it use that form. I think that would be very interesting. So So yeah, that we got a lot to figure out in this arc in particular, in my opinion, about like what it means to be alive in One Piece, because, you know, in Drum Island, we learned a lot about what it means to die, because you're not dead until you're forgotten, right? But I think here we're about to learn what it really means to be alive, because in Egghead, they talked about that a little bit with the holograms, where they were like, what's real and not is a debate that's old as time or whatever, right? And because we were looking at holograms that are like not really alive or even there, but they also kind of are. And so there's like this weird middle ground. And I feel like we're revisiting kind of the same idea, but with just like more concrete examples. So I think we got to figure out like, is there life in everything in One Piece? It feels like the answer is yes. And you think back to like the breath of all things or voice of all things, like everything does have like a little bit of life in it. And maybe Imu's been able to tap into that. I don't know. Maybe I'm too far now from the original point you were making, but I no matter what, this arc in particular, we got to figure out what it means to like be alive. And one other thing that I think is important in regards to this is, remember the sacred trees in Skypiea? They like supposedly house the souls of people's ancestors, and like in the flashback, we were kind of led to believe that's not really how it worked. Like they were kind of crazy for thinking that. But I think now, after everything we've seen in One Piece, maybe Shandora was kind of cooking. Maybe like the souls were in there. And obviously we're here in Elbaf with like one of the most important trees of all time that's named after a person. So, like I said, we got to figure out what it really means to be alive in One Piece, I think. So yeah, no, there's a lot to find out for sure. Kroderick with the €5. Thor fought frost giants. Fought frost. Okay, that was a tongue twister for a little bit. Thor fought frost giants with his thunder powers in Mjolnir. That's very cool. Connected to freeing Galileo with Ragnar, do ancient giants have inherent frost powers? That's very interesting. Did Thor? I mean, not that I don't believe you, but I'm just gonna look it up to see what other kind of details. Like, was this during Ragnarok? Or was this just in the movie? Was it just in the movie? Okay, it's in Norse mythology and the Marvel comics and stuff. Okay, so this is a very famous thing. So I love that. And, you know, Loki is obviously like a Thor type character right now, because he can bring down lightning with his hammer, and the fact he's using a hammer makes you think Thor and all that. In my last video, I actually brought up the idea that the original owner of Ragnar could have been named Thor, and maybe all the Gale Ra giants are like an old pantheon of Norse gods, so to speak, right? And I still really love that idea. But the fact that now Thor fought these frost giants, like, so 100% Loki is going to free the Gale Ra giants for sure. Like, I mean, I was already thinking this because Rock said that Harold was the only one who could lead the Gale Ra giants, and then he also said before that Harold was the only one who could really use the powers of Elbaf's fruit. But now that Loki has that fruit and he's now like the rightful heir to the throne, I think he's definitely, you know, taking the place of what Rox thought Harold was going to do. So that means that Loki does have to lead the Gale Ra giants in the future. And so this could be a foreshadow for that for sure. And I actually really like that, and this just dawned on me, but if Loki's able to freeze other things really easily, can he unfreeze things really easily? Because if he can control ice one way, maybe he can, you know, pull the, like, unfreeze the things afterward. And if so, that could be how he saves the Gale Ra giants. Maybe they're not dead because they're just frozen, kind of like Saul, and he can bring them back in a way that, you know, because if he goes and hits the ice, like they could in theory shatter, or they should, I guess I should say. But if he can just pull out the cold and like thaw them out quickly with his powers, then they're gonna still be alive. So 100%, like, I don't know like when that's gonna happen, just because like Loki getting to Punk Hazard feels like I don't even like how, you know, like, I don't, if he's gonna get on the crew, like if he's gonna get on the ship, then how we're gonna have to turn around, which that doesn't seem real. But maybe Kuma wakes up and sends him over there. I don't know, but either way, this is awesome. This is genuinely so cool. Spencer 5175. I have the at names again, not like the display names, so sorry if it's something else, but Spencer 5175 with the $5 super chat. Of the D, no non-human D, no minks, no fishman, no Kazuki, but giant Saul, but monkey D and jaguar D, both animal names. No theory here, just noticing. No, you're cooking. I don't know what the theory is either, but I know you're definitely cooking there, because like it is interesting that like they have the animal names, and also a thing to add on to that is, and this, now we're getting into theory territory, but I think it's a very strong theory that like the Monkey Clan has some tie to the Sky Races, because Calgara has the same voice actor as Dragon, which like isn't the biggest thing, but that just raises your eyebrows. And then also remember, one of the elders in Shandora had the dog mask, much like Garp's dog mask. There's also a monkey with a straw hat on the Golden Bell, so it feels like there's going to be some connection between the Sky Races and the Monkey Clan. And I think the Sky Races are also going to have a connection to Elbath. Like, this is very much shaping up to be like a Skypiea Part 2 type arc, in my opinion at least. Like, we haven't seen the Heaven Realm or anything, but the Giants use sky clouds to like fly around in. We had Weatheria mentioned at the beginning of technically at the end of Egghead, but you know what I mean, right before the arc started. And Haradas is from Burka, which is, where Enel is from. We're wondering when Enel is going to come back. We got a guy calling himself a god here who brings down lightning, which is like Enel. So there's all sorts of Skypiea stuff. So maybe we're going to find out that like the Monkey Clan and the Jaguar Clan, which ties back to Elbath, were like they became homies at one point, and that's what, there's like some story there between the two. That could be even how the D's became friends with Elbath, is because of the Sky Races in some way. Like maybe the Monkey Clan back then was like, they came down and just were nice to him, and or maybe it's because, well, I was gonna say maybe because like of Joy Boy, but like I really don't want Joy Boy to be a Monkey D person, so I don't know what that story would be, but the Skypiea thing, that's I think that's where this is going to connect back to for sure. So no, you're cooking. Even if you didn't have for sure theory there, you were cooking, man. Also, I just saw real quick, 344 Hatch. You said first time I caught you live, but 3 ads is insane. I don't have any control over the ads, to be honest. I can opt to have 0 ads at all. But if I turn the ads on, period, then it's all YouTube. So if there's a lot of ads, I'm sorry. I am not doing it on purpose. Because they even used to have it where you could put like placement ads, and this is not for live streams. This is for like VODs and stuff. But even that, they've kind of taken control over. So like it is out of my hands at this point. And I'm sorry, because I would make it better if I could, but I can't adjust it one way or the other. So I apologize for that for sure. 25th Slayer. With the $2, you said Ragnar, the last Uranus bender. Honestly, that's kind of a cool connection to make to Avatar, because remember, Aang was like frozen in ice forever and then brought back to the future. Here we have these giants that are frozen, maybe coming back to the future, and but Ragnar was like stuck around this whole time, and it's like, I don't know, there is kind of a fun connection there, especially given that like, if Ragnar is Uranus, it's like the god of the sky, and I just think like, you think about Aang, like, well, he's the Avatar, so he had all of the powers eventually, but he even started with like air powers, like they were up in the sky as well, right? So I just think that's very interesting to think about, honestly. Straw Hat AP with the $2 super chat. Is this a Suru theory? Nope. Straw Hat AP, I will tell you, I've been looking at a lot of One Piece cards lately, and every time I see a Suru card, I think of you immediately. You are ingrained in my brain right next to Suru. Like there's no, I can't think of Suru without thinking about Straw Hat AP at this point. So, if you ever enter one of the TCG giveaways, Straw Hat AP, I'm gonna have to include a Suru card. I'm surprised there are so many. There's actually a lot of Suru cards. I don't know why, but you said Usopp stores Ragnar powers inside his dials or hammer. That would be kind of cool. So you're saying that maybe like he doesn't get Ragnar himself, like he doesn't use it, but maybe Ragnar like gets swung at Usopp, and Usopp captures it all in a dial, and then he's able to like use that for the foreseeable future. I love that because it fits into one of my agendas, and I'm going to tell you why. So you guys know, or maybe most of you know, that I think the man marked by flames is going to be Mass Deuce, and there's a lot of reasons why, but one of the big ones is that he has a dial with Ace's fire in it, and I forget what his exact terminology is, but it doesn't seem like that fire is going to run out anytime soon. Like, he's just using Ace's fire post-mortem and sailing around with it. Like, he's using the boat just like Ace did. Like, you have the fire like spewing out the back, like it's a speedboat kind of thing. Like, he's using Ace's fire for that. He's like Ace version 2. And so the reason I want to make that connection is like the fact that the fire is like kind of endless. I don't know if it's truly endless, right? Like, Oda hasn't really talked about it, but the fact he's using it to sail around tells me there's a lot of fire in there. And so going back to Ragnar's powers, if Ragnar did, hit Usopp and he captured it all in a dial, it might last a really long time. I feel like what we were told before is like you kind of, I think it's the impact dial where like you take the attack and then send it back. But if he's able to like, take in the weather powers and stuff, he might actually be able to use that in general in the future. And what I really like about that idea is, remember, Usopp made the Climatect, right? He's not, like a super scientific genius or anything, but he knows how to mess with the weather a little bit by using the Climatect, right? So if he got a dial that tapped into like some weather usage powers, that would just, I don't know, that would be some crazy kind of foreshadowing and stuff from Oda. Now, it would like step on Nami's toes, I feel like, a little bit if he also has weather focused powers, but maybe it's just the ice thing or something, right? It's not like weather in general, but just one brand of weather. That might work a little bit better. But that also steps on Brook's toes if it's ice, so I don't know what it would be, but I actually really like that idea, honestly. Bean Boy with the $5 super chat. Ragnar's powers are themed to the realms. Niflheim, ice. The others could be Muspelheim, fire. Nidvel. Sorry, I know I'm gonna butcher these, so I'm just gonna do my best. Muspelheim, which is fire. Nidavellir, which is earth or ground, and then Asgard, which is lightning. I agree with you. I think you're right on the money. And that's so cool, in my opinion. If it's really that like Loki can use kind of like whatever type of weather type thing he wants to use, and he just names it after the different realms and Norse myths, that's just like, I don't know, like it's kind of like simple from like Oda's perspective, but it's so cool at the same time, right? Like if I'm Oda and I have this important Norse myth related guy, like, naming his different style of attacks off the different realms, like it's simple in the sense of like, that's, if it's not like hard to come to that conclusion, I guess, but it's still so cool, right? I think that is, it's just, I don't know, it hits, it still hits. So I'm with you. I think you're right. I don't know the other realms well enough to really comment, but like on the name specifically, but I definitely think Asgard for lightning, that's definitely going to be it. That one, because I think it also makes sense, not just from like the lightning aspect, but like you think about an L, like lightning powers, at least in our head, we kind of think like we tie them to godly powers, like that's the most godly of all in a way, or at least One Piece has depicted them that way. Like, I mean, ice is really strong, don't get me wrong, fire is really strong, but lightning kind of, like, because of an L, we kind of hold that to a higher regard, I feel like. And also, the main character here is Rubber, who, like, nullifies, like, lightning, so the more important Oda can make lightning, the more important Luffy is by proxy, right? But also, but because it's tied to, like, godliness in this story, it would make sense that Asgard is also tied to that, just because, like, that is, the realm of the gods or whatever, so... So yeah, it's definitely, I think that's definitely where Oda's going. I love it. Anna Lit IQ Media with the $2 super chat. Do you believe the time dilation theory? I'm like 50-50, honestly. I don't think it's like concrete, like if you go and read the Scopper and Shanks thing, like I think it could go either way, so I'm not like firmly in either camp. But I do think the Louis R. Note thing is pretty ominous. So I would say, like... if I had to choose, gun to my head, I would say yes, but I'd be very unconfident in that yes. Like for me, whenever I see that conversation, like I don't think like they would get the years confused that easily. And I get the idea is like, oh, you know, like Scopper's just been chilling and not really thinking about it and whatever, right? Like that's like the idea, but at the same time, it's weird that he said 3 or 4 years, and that like if you multiply that by 3, it's pretty much 10. Like the way that worked, and then the Giants are 3 times older as humans, like that fits really well. Like it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of on the nose. So like that's why I would, if I gun to my head, I would say yes, but I wouldn't be shocked if it wasn't true. But I will say if it was true, that would add a lot of cool twists to the story right now, because that would mean that, you know, it's only been like a day that we've been in Elbaf, or even less than that, I don't know. But that would mean that more time has passed in the rest of the world. And that means that once we're done with Elbaf, or even partway through Elbaf, we can get a pit stop and be like, wait, what's happened in the world? Wait, how did all these battles happen? How did these people get captured? Wait, what's going on? And we find out it's because time moves faster out there, so that way more stuff can go by. And I like that from Oda's perspective, because then just from like a storytelling point of view, he can kind of make more stuff happen quicker by doing that, because we'll be focused on this. And then like in one fell swoop, he can be like, oh, here's all the things that happen in the world. This. All right, let's move on to more Elbaf stuff. And then he doesn't have to like actively show it while it's happening. We can view it all in a flashback, so it's quicker. So yeah, I think it makes sense. But again, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Alexander Fiorello, you just became a member. Appreciate you very, very much. Dak, Mr. Streams, bro. Happy to be back, dude. Welcome back. Seriously, thank you for becoming a member again. And I hope you had some awesome holidays, Alexander. Seriously, it's been far too long, my friend. Mr. Bushido with the €2. Loki can fly by tossing the hammer like Thor. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, well, let's see. So Loki did say earlier, like I'll jump up, right? I wonder if that's because Ragnar helps him do that, or if he can just jump. I mean, Loki's such a boss, I wouldn't put it past him to just jump. So I would more lean that way, that he can just jump, or probably even skywalk, honestly, which would just be hype. But that'd be crazy too if he can throw the hammer and then that's how it works. Alexander Fiorello, you also said Loki doing the Nika dance first thing when he's free. You know, I was just looking at that. Like, let me go and look. So whenever he gets freed, you can see he does have like one fist up here, and he's like, it even says I can move. It's so freeing, but you can't really tell if he's in the Nika pose entirely there. But then whenever he jumps up to swing the hammer, you can see he's kind of in the Nika pose. Like his hands are both on the hammer, but he does have the rest of the pose is accurate. And then whenever he swings the hammer, it's the same thing. He's pretty close. So I think Oda definitely wanted us to think of that connection. So I'm glad you brought that up. That is, it's beautiful. Cloud Lizard with the $2 super chat. Sword with soul equal add mass with attack. I like that. I didn't even think about that, but that's interesting. And what I really like about that too is it adds like a little bit of reason to use weapons, because like Luffy obviously just uses his fists, and he has a double fruit, so he kind of has a weapon like in that regard. But and he has his sandals, you know, the indestructible sandals, so those are worth mentioning. But he doesn't have like a real weapon that like a sword or a hammer or anything. And it would be kind of cool if we learned, well, there is an advantage to having a sword. It's not just that they're, like they're sharp, and at least in a normal combat scenario can be a huge advantage. But like, no, like if they have their own soul, they can kind of like lend you power in a way, which is kind of what Enma already did, or at least Enma forced Zoro to be stronger, which is like almost the same thing. So I actually really like that idea that like a sword with a soul, or at least using how to like, use the soul or work with the soul in the sword, will add more mass to your attacks. I love that. That'd be really important for the end game, so I'm all about it. Meister 0198. Again, I have the @ name, so if that is not the display name, I apologize. But with 50 SEKs. You guys know I gotta look what that is. Is it Swedish krona? All right. I know it might have been you. I know I've had someone donate that before, and I gotta remember that. Swedish krona. That's a cool currency name. I feel like Oda is making a parallel between Loki and Usopp with how they both lied to not worry their respective villages, or maybe I'm just coping. You're not coping. You're cooking. I didn't really think about that, but you're kind of right. I might have to think about it a little bit more to like fully uncover it, but at least on the surface, it's like the opposite though, in a way, like, because Usopp obviously would lie that like pirates are coming when they weren't coming, and so it's like the boy who cried wolf in that regard. But it's like I think there could definitely be something there that Oda might be pulling on, because like, isn't Loki like a liar or trickster in Norse mythology, right? I'm just gonna double check. I mean, I know he's definitely a trickster, but yeah. He is the quintessential liar and trickster in Norse mythology. So it would be cool if Oda is kind of tying those together. So you might actually be onto something, Meister. I actually really like that. I'm down for any Usopp hype though at this point. Like, I mean, I'm fully confident that Oda's going to make Usopp look amazing by the end of this, or at least give him his big brave warrior of the sea moment. But thus far, Usopp has done nothing. Right? Usopp has nothing to be proud about so far this arc. So, so I'm down for any hype at this point. Anything for Usopp. Mr. Bushido with the €5. What happened to Loki's crew? Shanks kills them like Kid and Barto crews in ships. Think we'll get second Loki flashback later. I definitely don't think Shanks killed them. I don't think Shanks is really like that kind of guy to like because you think about Barto, right? Like I don't think any of Barto's crew is dead or anything. Like I'm sure they're mad, they were probably hurt, but I don't think any of them are dead. And I mean that was Yasopp anyway, but you get my point. Like I don't like we saw there that Shanks isn't really like he's not really like that. I mean, maybe he is if the person's like actually, a bad guy, but like Loki is a good guy who's just been getting blamed for things and stuff. So as far as Loki's crew, I don't know. My first thought, and I don't know if this is really going to be it, but my first thought is that what if they also got frozen at Punk Hazard? Like, what if they're frozen with the rest of the Gale Raw Giants and they're all going to come back? And Oda's building a little bit of a parallel there with Loki and the past user of his fruit, where the past user, they lost their crews in similar ways, basically. But like, assuming that Ragnar's past user was in Gale Raw and also had Loki's fruit, which I feel like is pretty likely, but we don't actually know that. But assuming that's true, then we know that the past owner of Ragnar is dead for sure because Loki has the fruit, and so for him to have the fruit, that means the past user had to die. And so maybe the whole story is both of their crews got captured, but the past version of Loki, was killed, and this version was able to escape, and he's actually going to go back and free all of them later, right? And so actually, the more I think about it, the more sense that makes. It would just feel weird that they're like maybe the giants we saw weren't even really the Gale Raw ones, but they were the like Lokis, and maybe the Gale Raw ones are somewhere else. I don't know. Like that would be a weird, just fitting all those things together would be weird, but I like that idea that like they both repeated their histories in a way. Now I don't think Shanks would have done that per se, right? I don't know how that would have necessarily happened. But maybe Shanks teamed up with somebody else. I don't know. But yeah, I kind of like that idea. I don't know if I kind of doubt they're dead, but I also could see them being dead. So I don't know. I'm 50-50. Growth Stunks with the 25-month member message. My guy, thank you for all the support. Elbaf is peak. Loki's my fave time skip character. Elbaf is peak, and I love that you this is usually what you super chat or you member message is how peak Elbaf is, because you and I are on the same agenda, which is Elbaf. Well, Well, we tend to say Elbaf greater than Wano, but it's not even really about just being greater than Wano. It's about Elbaf being the greatest arc in the series once we're done. You know, I'm definitely an Elbaf truther for sure. So yeah, Elbaf every week is peak. Every single week is peak of Elbaf. So yeah, appreciate you, Growth Stonks, and I'm really excited for the next chapter. Next chapter, assuming that we go up and start fighting Imu, man, that's gonna be big time. That's gonna be big time. JR Ryder 203 with the $5 super chat. Maybe Loki met Lola soon after all of this. Yeah, that's a good point. That definitely that had to happen. Well, let's see. That was 14 years ago. How old is Lola? Let me see. I feel like I look this up every stream. I know she's 20 somewhere. 26, so she would have only been 12. So I feel like the wedding was roughly 4 to 6 years after this, because Pudding was, you know, like gonna marry Sanji when she was just 16, I think. So I feel like, and so yeah, so let's see, we're 14 years ago, so she'd be 12. So we need at least 4 years for her to be the same age as Pudding, and 2 more would make her like 18-ish. So I feel like somewhere around there is probably when that happened. But what else did you say? Maybe Loki met Lola soon after all this, and he was calm before she denied him. I don't see Loki having 8 years to rampage without trying to get Imu. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, because, like, I wonder what effect Lola had on him. Like, was he rampaging before that, and then Lola calmed him down? Or was Loki calm the whole time, but then after the Lola thing, then he started raging, and that's why Shanks had to step in? That would honestly make more sense. That would actually make, because, so here's the thing. So going back to the Lola age thing, so this was 14 years ago, so she would have only been 12. So I would say we need at least 4 more years before this would have happened, which would put this at 10 years ago. We know that Loki got captured 6 years ago, so I could almost... But Lola's marriage didn't have to happen 10 years ago. It's just like, that's like the earliest. So maybe what happened is the Lola marriage thing was like 6 years ago or 7 years ago, and Loki was fine before that and wasn't really doing a whole lot. But then after that marriage, he got really mad and started rampaging, and that's why Shanks had to step in. And what I think is kind of cool about that is, you remember we had that cover story where Shanks was at a wedding and we don't know what wedding it is. Maybe Shanks got invited to the Lola and Loki wedding, and that's where, like, and so Shanks was there, and then he followed him to Elbaf, and, like, I don't know, like, it's just, Shanks could have been there, I guess is what I'm getting at. So I actually think that makes a lot of sense. Like, he was really mad after getting denied, and that's what actually made Shanks step in. I think that would be, I mean, the Lola thing is one of the things that I want to see the most out of anything going on with Loki, personally, because Whole Cake's like my favorite arc. I want to see Mother Carmel lore pop up in Elbaf sometime soon. So I'm just a sucker for all things Whole Cake. So for Lola, I mean, I would love to build up that moment to more than what we know of right now. So I'm all for that, actually. Like he was just he was chilling until the Lola thing, and then he got mad. I think you might be right. I think you might be right. Mr. Bushido with the €2 super chat. Ragnar is an amplifier for Loki, like Zeus is for Nami. I like that connection. I mean, I do think that, like, the way Uranus works, assuming that they are Uranus in some way, I do think it's like they do have to work in tandem. So it's like a hammer hitting an anvil sort of thing. Like, that creates the spark, right? So they do have to kind of work together. So maybe he is an amplifier in that way. I don't know what, like, the rhyme or reason is. Like I don't know if this is because of, like, Loki's devil fruit or Loki's special Uranus powers that are just like what he was born with. Maybe his eyes tie to that. I don't know if Ragnar is a mythical squirrel that has extra powers. I don't know if the hammer Ragnar has a bunch of dials built into it. Like, I have no effing idea on what the combo of powers are here, but I think you might be onto something just with the idea that, like, they have to work in tandem, because now you think about, like, Zeus, and actually this is another, we were talking about, like, living weapons earlier. Zeus is another great example. and he got like stronger when imbued directly into the Climattact, and so now like they do literally have to work in tandem to, you know, because like Nami used to be able to use the Climattact separate from Zeus, but power up Zeus with it, but now they're one and the same, so maybe there is a connection. So yeah, you might be onto something. You might be onto something. Analyt IQ Media with the $5 super chat, and this is the last one. We're not ending the stream soon, but we're almost caught up, so I'll get back to the regular chat here in a second. But after Loki's flashback, I think Shanks will be the final villain. I don't think he's evil. Rather, I think he wants to replace Imu and is biding his time. Man, I mean, for me, I don't, like, it's tough because, like, if Shanks wants to take Imu's spot, I feel like you're almost like inherently bad in a way. Like, not that like a world dictator or whatever like has to be bad, because like if you're a world dictator but you do a bunch of good stuff, then like it's not really a problem. But I feel like just the idea of having a world dictator, you know, in any way is kind of like a negative. So I guess in my mind, I don't think I see Shanks doing that, but I do think Shanks has like a big alternative plan than any of us know right now. I don't know, like beating Imu could definitely be part of it. Instilling like a new leadership could definitely be part of it. I don't know if he wants to be that leader. I guess that's maybe my biggest issue with it, but I do think for sure that Shanks has a special agenda. Like going even back to Luffy, I think Luffy, like I definitely think Shanks likes Luffy. I think Shanks wants Luffy to succeed. Like nothing I'm about to say counters that. Like that's definitely true. But I also can see Shanks, like when the whole Gomu thing started, like when he went for it, I could see that whole thing almost like being a part of his plan and the plan that he's still doing. It's just the plans changed a little bit when Luffy ate it, because maybe he was expecting Ace to eat it, and Shanks had a whole plan in his mind of like, okay, this is how we're going to save the world. Like the next, the next Pirate King's going to be Roger's son. I'm going to make sure he gets this fruit. He's going to be the sun god. We're good there. I'm going to go do XYZ. We're going to, I'm going to set everything up so that we can fix the world, or, ensure that the future is protected or whatever. But then I think Luffy ate it, and it probably changed a little bit. He's like, okay, wait, I wasn't expecting that, but, with the way fate works, maybe I should just roll with it. And I do think that's part of his plan. But the reason I say that is just, I think Shanks had a plan this whole time, and he's probably still carrying it out. And so I don't know what he's really aiming for, but obviously it's like a good outcome, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited either way to see what this plan is. I'll say that for sure. I don't know. I would love to see Shanks versus Imu at some point. I could almost see it more like Shanks wants to fight Imu, but then Blackbeard steps in, and that's where their fight happens. That's basically what I said a few videos ago. It's a little bit different than that, but I do think that like Blackbeard's going to team up with the government. Shanks is going to be against them, and their fight's going to start because of that conflict. But yeah, like I said, either way, I really want to know what Shanks is thinking for sure. Meister 0198 with the Swedish krona, right? It's the Swedish krona. All right. Appreciate you very much. Usopp also lied at the end of Surt Village, chapter 40, that the attack never happened. That was the parallel I saw. Oh, you're talking about that? Okay. I didn't even remember that part, but yeah, because they didn't really see it, right? Like, the townspeople never really knew it happened. Like, I mean, the Usopp pirates and Kaya did and stuff, but the townspeople never really caught wind of the commotion because the pirates, or because Luffy and Co. and Usopp and all them kept the pirates at bay, right? So actually, yeah, that's a really good point. I like that. That makes a lot of sense. Because it's the same thing here where, like, Elbaf never really caught wind of the danger, right? Like, they didn't really know what the full situation was. Like, even Harudine's learning the full scope right now, right? So, no, so you're right. That's definitely something to consider. And like I was saying too, Loki in Norse mythology is like known as a liar, so there's like an Usopp parallel there. So I love that. You're right on the money. Vasil Vlad Ivanovici with the 10-pound super chat. What if Lola and Loki neither wanted the forced marriage? Lola was a kid after all, so when she ran and got replaced with Chiffon, Loki had multiple reasons to be disgusted by Big Mom. So, I guess I definitely agree on the last part. Like after the chiffon replacement, I like Loki was definitely not happy with Big Mom, and that could have started whatever rampage that Loki was on. You know what I mean? Like imagine Loki versus Big Mom. That I need to see that. Even if it's just a clash, I need to see that. That would be so cool to see. But as far as the other parts, like, so from what we were told, and this again, maybe Oda's going to change the story, which, you know, he's done many times before, but what we were told is that Loki fell in love at first sight with Lola, and then Lola was the one that turned him down. And so again, the story might change, but based off that, I feel like at least Loki was in love for sure. So I know now does he want like a forced marriage? Now that he might not have wanted, because maybe he just wanted Lola to love him. Like, hey, whether I want you to marry me, whether we're creating an army or not. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe that was kind of it, where Lola's like, or like, you know, they wanted to just marry, or Loki wanted to marry her normally, but maybe the forced part kind of made it awkward, or maybe made Lola think that like Loki wasn't serious or something. But then you also said Lola was a kid after all, and I believe we don't know the age yet, which I mean, Pudding was only 16, so if we use that as an example, I mean, she's basically a kid, so it still kind of works. But I don't think we know the age yet. And if it was 6 years ago to match up with the Shanks thing, then she would have been 20, so I feel like that would definitely still fit. And also, remember, Lola's epithet is marriage proposal Lola. So it's like a very interesting thing where, like, she should have been all about this no matter what, but for some reason she turned Loki down. It's like the only guy that she's ever turned down, right? And so, I don't know. I feel like there's definitely an important story there of some sort, on why she turned down, like, you know, the Prince of Elbaf, this really powerful guy that is apparently actually a decent guy, right? He's not actually evil, and like, so I don't know what she wanted to marry Absalom, who's a freak and also a terrible person. So I don't know what the reason is for Lola here, but I do think that, like, that marriage falling apart definitely led to some conflict with Big Mom. Like, again, I'm not sure if Loki would have, like, fought her legit, but I need to see a clash with Big Mom and Loki. I just think that's, like, insane. That would be a hell of a panel to see, you know? Let's see, Debus. I just saw your super chat rolled in. I just saw my chat froze, so I'm trying to figure that out. Okay, you know what? Let's just close this. Let's open up a new tab. Or not a new tab, a new window, because you guys know this. Every time we get like an hour or two into the stream, it happens every time. I'm so far back in the super chats, or in the chat. All right, here we go. Now I'm back. Let's see. Debus, there we go. Imu of the 1,000 Plans. Yeah, Imu, that little, I don't know, that little discussion from Imu, man, that, I don't know, I feel like there's, I don't even know what to say. There's definitely some important stuff that we can pull from that. It would be funny if Imu was called Imu of the 1,000 Plans, though. I think that'd be very funny. Okay, I clicked like 15 tabs trying to find the chat because I had it on a different window and I could not find it. Now I finally found it. But yeah, that would be a hilarious name. I wonder, is there trying to think of any parallels between Imu and Kuro right now that would make that even more appropriate. I don't know. I guess. Well, I was gonna say maybe Imu faked their death, but Imu's in the Book of Genesis, so like Imu's been around, so you know they. So I don't know about that. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I love the name though. Imu doesn't really have an epithet, do they? Other than like the world, or you know, supreme ruler of the whatever. I mean, that's not an epithet. That's just that's your job. That's your occupation. Imu of the 1,000 Plans. I'm co-signing that as Imu's epithet for sure. Nick Ilvento with our member for 18 months. Appreciate you, brother. Will there be more explanation of these ice powers? Dude, there has to be. I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, we didn't really say this directly, but there is a chance that Loki's just channeling the chill of the underworld like Brooke does. You know, I mean, maybe we saw Nush Juro do the same thing. I mean, it could be that, but this also looks. This doesn't look like the way Brooke does it. You know, this looks a little bit different in my opinion. I mean, it's a hammer, so maybe that's why. But I don't know what's going on, man. I wish I did. I have no idea. Debus with a Canadian $7. Loki may have proposed to appease Big Mom, and because he did like her, but in private told Lola to say no because of what happened to Ida. I mean, like, it's possible. I just feel like we're kind of like recontextualizing the whole thing from what we know, and again, it's possible. I just that line from Chiffon, I think, yeah, it was Chiffon who was telling us, because yep, all the girls were taking a bath at the time, and that's when they were talking about this. I remember now from Whole Cake. It was Carrot, Nami, and Chiffon, I believe, and I think Chiffon said like Loki fell in love with Lola at first sight. So, you know, again, like that tells me that it wasn't just to appease Big Mom. It was because Loki genuinely loved her, and maybe again Oda can change it. For me, I feel like that tells us definitely that like Loki met Lola, was like, I want to marry this woman, and then everything is built around that. You know, and so I don't know if like Loki really cared about Big Mom in that way. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it could also be that. Well, actually, now that we see the flashback, I doubt this is it. I was gonna say it could be that maybe Loki, you know, to get back at Elbaf, wanted to team up with Big Mom. Like, if I'm gonna work with her, they'll hate that, and it'll get back at them in some way, and I can flex on them for whatever reason. But now that we see now that we've seen the full flashback, I don't think Loki really hates Elbaf like that. And so I feel like the Loki falling in love with her thing is pretty accurate. Again, maybe they're wrong, but to me that I don't know, that I think everything has to be built around that personally. But I mean, I could see like Lola and Loki did make a plan around it. Like maybe Loki did love her, and similar to how like Reiju talked to Sanji about the real plan and was like, hey, like this isn't a real wedding. They're gonna shoot you and use you, and you know, they're gonna team up and do all, like, it was a bunch of bad stuff, right? And so Sanji was like, okay, so we gotta like come up with a plan so I can get out of here. I could see something like that where Loki genuinely loved Lola, but then they had a talk, and Lola's like, hey, if we do get married, like Big Mom's just gonna probably try to kill you, or at least use you to take over the world, and it's gonna be bad, and we can't let that happen. And so then maybe that is a reason why she turned him down, because then they at least all got to live. And well, Lola had to like leave the country or whatever. But that I think could work. But I do think for sure that Loki just loved Lola. And maybe, again, Oda could change it. But I feel like that has to happen. Because the story beat there of Lola like not marrying anyone until Gotti recently. But for the most of the story, like nobody wanted to marry her. But then Loki falls in love with her, and then she turns him down. Like that story beat, like that has to stay roughly the same, just because that's so cool, right? For of all the people to love Lola, it's the Prince of the Giants, who's so so godly powerful, you know, he has Uranus powers and all this, and she turns him down. That's just like, I don't know, Oda's cooking with that whole plot line, so I don't want that to change, but I do think they could have made a plan where like we can't do this for the betterment of the world kind of thing, you know. And then what'll probably happen, and I actually saw a meme about this the other day, and I was scrolling on Reddit and I saw it, and I like looked at it for a second, and then I kept going, so I'm like, oh wait, hopefully that's not like a spoiler from the next chapter, because like it was a few days ago and the spoilers were out. But it was like a meme where like, I can't remember the whole meme off the top of my head, but part of it was saying that Loki like turned down a marriage with Shirahoshi, and I was like, okay, wait, is that in the most recent chapter? Because maybe, because like we know we had the marriage comment from Neptune, where like, oh, well, let's betroth my daughter to Loki or whatever. I'm like, wait, are we gonna find out in this chapter that like they like Elbaf and Neptune like tried setting those two up, and Loki turned down Shirahoshi at some point, and you know, like there's a whole story there that like maybe he was like, no, I love Lola, I'm not going to marry you. Like I'll start to think all these theories, and I'm like, is that just like a random meme, or is that actually a chapter thing? Now obviously that wasn't in this chapter, but just going back to the Shirahoshi marriage thing, I mean, I know there's a huge age gap here, but you know, this is One Piece, and so I feel like Loki and Shirahoshi are probably going to get married eventually, or at least be a pair at some point. They might be like the Sovereigns, or the two who were supposed to meet again also, which I feel like is pretty likely at this point. At least that Shirahoshi's one of them. So I don't know. I want to know everything about Loki's love life is basically what I'm getting at. That's the next thing I want out of Loki, or out of the Elbaf arc, is Loki's love life. That's the most important topic for me. That's what I've been waiting for. All right, am I caught up on the super chats? I think I am. It's already been an hour and a half, which is crazy. I say that every time. I can't believe the time goes that fast. But yeah, I'll go ahead and talk to the chat for a little bit. Or if you guys have more super chats, obviously we'll read them. But I'll just talk to the chat for a little bit, and then we will get out of here. Oh, also I wanted to mention this real quick. I should have said this at the very beginning, but at least I remember now. Remember I did a giveaway a couple weeks ago, and I got most of the people's addresses to send them to, but there was a couple people that I have not been able to get in contact with, and that's probably mainly because I can't tag their YouTube accounts. Like everyone else I could tag, and then they got a notification, and then so they knew to come email me. I can't tag these people, so if you are Bono 2091 or OP Crazy, which crazy has an X in it, so OPCRXZY. If you're one of those two people, please get in contact with me. My email's in the description. You won something in the giveaway. You can go watch the stream to see what you won, but you won something. So, and you definitely want to contact me. It is not, you did not win nothing. You won something. Both of you won some very good things. So definitely contact me. Please. Let's see. Friend Harper, you said, I think it'd be funny if she was like, dude, you're 1,000,000 feet tall. How is this supposed to work? Now I'm good. Yeah. That was a theory for a long time, is that Lola was just like, Loki, the logistics are not going to work here. You know, it's like Odin and Toki on steroids, right? But honestly, like, this is One Piece, you know, they'll find a way. So I don't know. I would love it to be something funny, though. And a thing that I was thinking for a long time, which now this is definitely not it, but a theory I had was that Loki was going to have a long nose like Usopp. And so whenever they went to go kiss at the wedding, they couldn't, because his nose was so big that she like just couldn't kiss him. And so they're like, well, if you can't consummate the marriage with a kiss, then you can't get married. And so then they never did. I thought that would be like the funniest, like most random outcome. But now that's definitely not it. I don't know what it is. I mean, like the idea I said where like they agreed like, well, this would be bad for the world. Like I could see Lola coming to that conclusion. I don't know if they would necessarily like agree, because obviously I don't think Loki really cares about that. I think Loki thinks he's strong enough to stop anything Big Mom was doing, but I think Lola could for sure. Croderick, you said, when are you going to do the box opening stream? Don't want to miss the hype. That's a good question. I did get 2 boxes of OP14. I pre-ordered those before my LCS changed their policy, because again, like I said at the beginning, the TCG market is absolutely insane. I mean, and I say insane, and that's not even doing it justice. Excuse me. I'm talking so I think right before Christmas, like a month ago, I opened up 4 boxes of One Piece cards. I opened up OP05, OP09, PRB02, and OP13, I think. So to give you guys an idea, OP05, a single box is now over $1,000. PRBO2 is almost like $400. OP13, which just came out 2 months ago, is now $500. They normally retail at like 100, you know. So like this is Pokemon territory in terms of like how it's even beyond Pokemon territory. And so I did get 2 OP14 boxes before they changed their policy, because now you can only pre-order 1 if you're a player, and I am not a player, but I'm going to have to become one now. And so I'm not going to be able to get very many boxes in the future, but I did get 2 OP14 before they changed that. So I don't know when I'm going to open it, though. We have a break this week, so probably this week, actually. Probably this week. This week, for sure, during the break week. And I almost said tomorrow, but I gotta get, like, I don't know if I'm gonna do a video on this chapter or a video in general, so I gotta figure that out. But in the next few days, because it just came out today, so I want to open it soon, because it's a new set. It's cool, right? There's a Mihawk manga rare in there for any Mihawk fans, for sure, which I think that is that one's cool. There's some really good SPs. My main target is the Buggy SP. If you guys haven't seen it, just go look it up. Buggy Gold SP or look something like that. Beautiful card. Beautiful card. I'm not even like a huge Buggy guy, but the card's so beautiful. I want to get that one. Or the Boa. The Boa cards are always a good get. Everyone loves the waifus, you know. Debus, you said, isn't OPO5 like 1,500? Last I checked, because I was watching a video last night from a YouTuber named Straw Hat Speculator, which I think is so funny. He makes good videos on the TCG market, but I just think it's so funny that, like, we now have channels dedicated to One Piece card investments. Like, I think that is just, for us fans of the series, I think that's quite a departure from, you know, the reason we originally started watching, which is good. I just think it's funny. But anyway, I was watching his, and last night it was like 1150 one had sold on TCG Player for OPO5. So OPO5 is insane. I remember like 4 or 5 months ago, I forget who I was talking to, but I was saying that, like, I think out of all the sets, I can't remember exactly when, but I said out of all the sets right now, I feel like OPO5 is the most undervalued. I might buy a case. I didn't have the money for it because the case was already like several $1,000s. But I was like, I remember saying, like, this one is the one I can't believe has not shot up, because there's so many good cards from it. It's an older set, so it's probably not going to get reprinted. There's a lot of different reasons. And it was like $300 whenever I said that, and now it's gone up like 4x. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a good thing because it's bringing a lot of hype to One Piece. I was watching a video recently where a guy was like, forget how he worded it, but he's like, forget Michael Jordan. Now it's about Monkey D. Luffy. Mickey Mantle's got nothing on Luffy. Luffy's never going to need Tommy John surgery. Like, it was all these, like, you know, funny sports references. But I kept thinking, like, honestly, you're kind of right. Like, you know, if a sports player gets hurt, their value goes down. Or if they get, like, in legal trouble, their value goes down or whatever. Luffy, like, we're good. You know, like, Luffy can only go up. Like, I don't know, man. It's a crazy situation. It's a crazy situation. I'm Delty said blame Logan Paul. He's definitely part of it. Logan Paul's part of it. Mr. Beast is part of it. You know, the prices started going up before they got too far into it, or before, like, they did their recent videos, but they definitely, like, kicked it up a notch, right? Like, it was already getting hype and people were kind of already looking towards it and putting money into it. And then I think once they showed they had some big collections, then people are like, oh, wait, all right, now is the time. I'm getting in now. So, you know, and this is not financial advice in any way, shape, or form. That is not what this channel is for. But I mean, a lot of people are making a pretty penny on One Piece. I'll tell you that right now, because it's gone up so much that anybody who got in early, I mean, and there might still be room to grow. Again, I'm not trying to give you guys financial advice, but personally, I think there's a lot of room to grow in a lot of different areas. But it has already gone up a lot too. So don't go take out a second mortgage for anything. But if you got, you know, some spare money, maybe you want to get in now, because it might go up till you can't pay for any, you know, buy anything. So, Real Tony, you said, what's the best card you've packed on stream? I pulled the Buggy manga rare from OP09. That's the best card I've ever pulled. I also pulled the Luffy leader from OP12. I think it's OP12. It's the red one where he's like, I don't know, it's all red, and he's like, he has like the hat over his head and you can barely see his eyes. I think it's OP12. I pulled that one. That one's like $600 now. Whenever I pulled it, it was like $300 or $250. The Buggy, whenever I pulled that, it was like $300, $400. Now it's like $1,200 or something. So it's crazy, guys. It's genuinely crazy. It's a crazy, crazy world we live in. Oh yeah, Nick. Whoa, Dak. Technically, I pulled that manga. That's true. That's true. Whenever we were doing the stream, that was Nick's like pack, quote unquote, that would have been that. But the way we do it is like I keep the chases, but then I sent Nick a bunch of other stuff. He got a full box and some other goodies to take place of it. Which now, like again, I got the box for like retail price, so I'm not worried about it. But I'm gonna pull up the price real quick because that one's also gone up. How much is a single box of that now? $630. Just that's a year ago I was at the store buying those for $110 a box. Now they're $600. It's just crazy. Mr. Bushido with the €2. Getting back to the manga talk here. Do you think Loki went to Wano to see Kaido? I don't think so. I think that's something that we would have heard about. It's possible. I don't think there's anything that would make it impossible, but I don't think we have any reason to necessarily believe it. I think this is a kind of a good debate for the community, but like, if Loki went there, could he have defeated Kaido? Could he have just saved Wano? At this point, I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of Loki, but I kind of want to say yes. I kind of want to say that Loki could have done it. Could beat Kaido, but I don't know. But yeah, I don't think we have much reason to think he did. So I would say no, but it would be cool if he did. I think it'd be very cool, especially if Loki has a dragon fruit, and so then it's dragon versus dragon. I'd be all about that. And then maybe Monkey D Dragon pulls up. Then we got dragon versus dragon versus dragon. Let's see. Nick, you said, damn, I should have kept it. Yeah, so it's funny, whenever I pulled that Buggy, a sealed box of OP09 now is worth more than the Buggy was at the time we pulled it. So yeah, had you just kept the box, you would actually be at an even bigger plus than if you actually got the manga from me. So that's actually crazy that is even a thing. Analyt IQ Media, again, one of my favorite names on YouTube. Since it suggested Shanks couldn't beat Harold, but later beat Loki, how do you think he got a power-up? Could he know how to use magic like Imu? Actually, I'm glad you brought this up. So I got a comment on my video. Oh, and I can't remember who it was. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't remember your name. But you did a super thanks, and you had a really good theory. Can't remember your name. I'm so sorry. But I responded to it. So if you go to my last video and look, you can find it. So either way, shout out to that person. But they had this idea that basically, like, maybe when Shanks fought Loki, he was somehow able to subdue Ragnar, like talk to Ragnar and tell him to stop, or, going back to the myth of Ratatoskr, where Ratatoskr carried messages between the Nidhogg and the eagles at the very top of the tree. So they're like a trio in Norse mythology. And Shanks has his sword is griffin, so it's like a bird, like it has wings. Maybe he represents the eagle, or at least ties to the eagle in that myth. And so maybe Ragnar, for some reason, I don't know if it's like a Conqueror's Haki thing, I don't know if it's a lore thing, I don't know what the reason would be, but maybe whenever they fought, for some reason, Ragnar was like, I'm going to sit this one out. Like because if Loki has the Nidhogg fruit and Shanks has like the eagle sword, quote unquote, or at least like the stand-in for the eagle in that myth, then maybe Ragnar was like, I'm going to stay out of it because, like, you two, like, cause the Nidhogg and the Eagles, y'all have been feuding for so long. I'm friends with both of you. I don't want to hurt anybody. I'm just going to sit this one out. You guys just fight normal. So then it's Loki without Ragnar fighting Shanks, and maybe that's why Shanks was able to win. But if Loki was using Ragnar, then maybe Shanks would have lost. And again, I don't know. I don't know if Ragnar's really going to, do that to Loki. That feels kind of, I don't know. I don't know how to put it. That feels a little shady, but there could be a lot of lore behind it that we don't fully understand. And so that's why Ragnar's like, y'all got to figure out your own dispute. I'm tired of being in the middle of this. Right. It'd be a cool play on the Norse myth. So again, I don't know if that's actually how it's going to work, but I really loved that idea whenever I saw it. So had to shout that out. But it could also be that, even going back to Griffin, maybe Griffin, got a power up because of this abyss stuff. Like maybe Shanks did figure out a little more about how it works and was able to, power up his own weapon. So then him and Loki were on complete, even standing a little bit or something. I don't know. But I like the idea that Ragnar was like, I'm sitting this one out. Cause that just, I don't know. It fits so many different little mythology points there, Mr. Bushido with the €5. Do you think after this we see Haradin going up with supporters thinking he'll be made king of Elbaf, but the Elder Giants say no because of his blood? I do think that Haradin will become the king, and I do think before that the elders will step in and say no, but then through some series of events they're going to tell the elders to screw off and Haradin's going to become the king. That's generally how I think this is going to end. Now, I don't know what's going to happen between now and that point, though. Like maybe Haradin's going to have a really big moment to convince most of Elbaf to let him be the king kind of thing. Like maybe he, fights off one of the Gods Knights, saves a bunch of people. Maybe if Loki has his own, maybe Loki awakens and loses control, but Haradin gets to slow him down. There's a lot of cool things that Haradin could do. So I think he's going to have some big moment to kind of earn that right. But I do think we'll have a point where, he tries taking the throne and everybody wants him to, but the elders say no. And then this is where we finally tell the elders to get out of here. And we're tired of, their BS because they cause a lot of problems. We need to learn more about these elders. They are the most suspect people in Elbaf, period. More suspect than Harold, more suspect than Estrid, more suspect than even Imu and the Gods Knights and all these people, because at least we know, they're bad, but at least we know who they are. These elders are just sus, and so they got to get out of here. So I think that's Oda's gonna weave all those things together. The removal or the bypassing of those old people will be because of Haradin, I think, for sure. Which would be perfect because you think back to Ida, Ida wasn't allowed to live in the castle because of her blood, and Harold was trying the whole time. And so by Haradin getting in there, it's kind of he's making up for that, right? It's we're changing things. You don't need pure blood to be here anymore. The king is who the people choose to be the king, and he's going to be the king, whether these elders want to or not. So, and I'm excited for that moment. I want to learn who those old guys are. Ocean Flan, I see you just pulled up. I see you said yo, welcome to the stream. We are going to be wrapping it up soon, but I'm glad you're here. I don't know if you just got here, but by the way you said yo in all caps, I think you just got here. I don't see you any earlier chats, so welcome, Ocean Flan, welcome. Mr. Bushido with the €2. He said Imu will sacrifice all celestial dragons to become stronger. I completely agree. I've been on that agenda for years at this point. And I really wonder now, I'm actually really glad you brought that up, going back to Imu's line about every covenant, what was it? Let me find it. Every covenant comes with a price to be paid, even for Mu. I wonder if at some point the covenants, the price of the covenants is going to start being the celestial dragons. They have to start getting sacrificed to do a new covenant or something. And that's where everyone's like the celestial dragons start turning against Imu. I think that would make a lot of sense. That line right there, that's still, bare minimum, I think that's proof that there's a drawback to Imu's powers, which is very important in and of itself, I would say. So, well, all right, guys, what are we at? We about 2 hours now? Coming up on 2 hours. So, I'm I think we're gonna wrap it up here. But thank you guys as always for being here. Another phenomenal chapter. So I said this last time, and I kind of lied to you guys. I do have an excuse though, because I got sick, and then I had a root canal that I'm actually still healing from. I can't really bite down normal right now, but after last stream, I told you guys I was gonna like do a bingo card stream, I think, or some kind of stream, and that I was also gonna have a redacted video. Well, I did record redacted, but I forgot to turn the camera on for the first 10 minutes, and I was trying to edit that out, and then, like I said, I got sick, and then by that point, I had my own Ragnar video done, and I was like, you know what, we're too far removed. So I never got the redacted video done, but now I have an extra week, and I think Parvision said he's going to be free this weekend, so we will have redacted finally back in full swing for 2026, and we will do a stream as well. We can still do a bingo card stream. I mean, it's best to do those at the start of the year, but like, I mean, we still have the rest of the year to go, you know. So maybe we'll do a little bingo card, a little prediction stream for the rest of the year. We'll do some kind of stream. I need to be a little more active. We will have also the TCG stream too. So we'll have a couple streams. Redacted's coming, and some video. I don't know what video I'm gonna do. I don't know if there's anything in this chapter that I really need to talk about. I think this is definitely a redacted situation for this chapter. But yeah, we got stuff coming is mainly the point. So yeah, thank you guys as always for being here. Seriously appreciate you. And yeah, we'll be back. I'll be back soon with some kind of stream. So stay tuned, guys. But y'all be safe. And I guess last thing before we sign off, I will say, I know there's a lot going on in the world right now. I'm sure a lot of us are worried or uneasy about what's going on. And I just want to say, if you're going to go out there and exercise your First Amendment rights, be peaceful, but you know, do so. You know, use them. Use those rights. That's what I got to tell you. I know the world is getting scarier by the day, but you know, if you're going to go out there and use your rights, please do so. Just be safe.